So, today we're diving deep into a case that honestly, it forces you to question everything you think you know about status, success, and the secrets people keep. We're talking about Kareem S., the man the media often calls the gathering serial killer.
And it's a case defined by duality, really. Our task here is to try and unpack how one man lived as three distinct personalities.
Mhm.
Two of them, well, they were known, even respected by society, the wealthy academic, the perfect father figure.
Mm.
But the third was a methodical, truly sadistic predator. His existence was only ever confirmed by the sheer horror of his crimes.
And that horror, it starts somewhere utterly desolate. Just try to picture this. A cold morning, desert highway, heading towards Portside. Security forces stumble upon something just nightmarish. A female body, severely mutilated.
Yeah, and right away, red flags, no ID, obvious signs of terrible abuse, and her features,
Mm.
deliberately distorted, made unrecognizable.
The initial reports, they highlight how clinical the disposal seemed. This wasn't some chaotic frenzy. It felt, well, sequential, planned.
Exactly. Precise. The mutilation wasn't random. It was about erasing identity, making sure she was anonymous. When that first body turned up, law enforcement knew. They knew they were dealing with a serial killer.
Okay, let's try and get inside that first facade. Personality 1. The untouchable gentleman. Kareem S., born in Alexandria, 1987, comes from money, a wealthy family. And apparently, from a young age, he had this real need, this drive to be distinct.
Yeah, he needed to stand out, to
Huh.
be unique, separate, maybe better than his peers. And his background supported this image. His family eventually moved to the U.S., but he stayed in Egypt, went to the American University in Cairo, AUC.
And people who knew him then.
They all say the same thing. Incredibly sophisticated, well-bred, courteous, the word chic comes up, just impeccably presented. And this wasn't accidental. It seems like an image he carefully built over years.
This is where it gets, well, frankly, incredibly disturbing. He worked in the family business, commerce, but he wanted something more. Intellectual independence, maybe? He actually got a PhD in psychology from AUC, and his thesis topic.
Get this. The modification of abnormal human behavior.
Wow. The irony is just staggering.
It really is. He literally studied the tools to understand the kind of mind he would later, well, embody.
Mm.
And pursuing that doctorate, psychologically, it feels like part of that same need for distinction, right?
Yeah.
It gave him this intellectual shield, hiding whatever was really going on underneath.
And that shield helped him build personality number 2, the cultured man. He married a woman from Alexandria. They moved to the U.S. for about 5 years. He even got U.S. citizenship. They had a son, Z. So, on the surface, perfect picture, educated, successful family man.
But, behind closed doors, things were already cracking.
Yeah.
The source material points to intense problems in the marriage. He was apparently deeply suspicious, very quick to argue, obsessed with keeping up that high status, rejected any kind of advice, could be overly aggressive. And despite looking successful, he was still heavily reliant on his father's money. A lot of money, apparently.
And that dependence, you think that played into it?
Oh, absolutely. It seems like it just fueled this sort of aggressive insecurity he already had.
So that instability, maybe that's why they came back to Egypt 2017. They move into the gathering area, this very exclusive neighborhood, which, chillingly, later becomes the perfect insulated spot for his crimes.
Right. And they opened a tattoo studio together. Though, it sounds like his wife did most of the actual work there.
He was living a proper double life by this point, running the studio, sort of, but also teaching at a pretty prominent international school, the same school his son Z attended.
But by 2019, that whole carefully built structure, it really started to crumble fast.
And drugs were a big part of that spiral, weren't they?
A huge part. His use of narcotics, especially ice methamphetamine and other drugs, it apparently escalated dramatically. It started while he was in the U.S., but got much worse back in Egypt.
So it wasn't just recreational use?
No. It seems like the drugs were feeding something darker. Delusions, paranoia, and these really disturbing fantasies.
Then came the breaking point, the divorce in 2019.
Yeah. And it was ugly. Kareem accused his wife of having an affair with his best friend. He even filed a fornication lawsuit against them. He got custody of their son, Z.
And then did something truly cruel.
Unbelievably cruel. He convinced the little boy that his mother had actually died. This sense of betrayal, this perceived infidelity, it seemed to twist into this deep need for revenge. Specifically against women he saw as disloyal, like women involved in prostitution or maybe those meeting strangers for status or money.
This feels like the moment, the critical shift where personality 3, the predator, is deliberately brought into being. After the divorce, he gets an apartment in a famous compound in the gathering. starts renovations, and he has one very specific absolute demand for the workers.
Yeah, this is key. He insisted that one particular room had to be completely, totally soundproofed.
His excuse.
Oh, recording music. Didn't want to bother the neighbors. Standard stuff.
Yeah.
But psychologically, this wasn't about the neighbors at all. This was about shutting out the world. Building a private space, a physical manifestation of his darkest desires. He was literally building a chamber for his secrets.
While constructing this chamber of horrors, he's doing something else entirely in public.
It's almost unbelievable. He launches a TikTok account. It goes viral. He's offering free English lessons, tips on father-son bonding.
Positioning himself as the perfect single dad, responsible, cultured, involved.
Right. Just think about that for a moment. The sheer level of compartmentalization. He's picking out, tools for torture for this soundproof room, and at the same time, he's thinking about lighting for his next TikTok video on positive parenting.
Was it guilt? Overcompensation?
Wow.
Or just tactical?
The sources really suggest it was tactical, calculated. That intellectual background, the cultured vibe, even the TikTok fame, it all became part of his lure.
A weapon.
Exactly. He used his status, his appearance to approach women, attractive women, often in cafes or through social connections, offered them money, maybe services. And because he seemed so polished, so respectable, they felt safe. They went back to his apartment with him.
And once they were inside,
The mask dropped. The encounters turned sadistic, fast, often fueled by large amounts of ice and other drugs he'd give them or take himself. The drugs seemed to just accelerate everything, push it further into depravity.
the sadism was methodical, wasn't it? That soundproof room, when the police finally got inside, what did they find?
The instruments of his violence: a whip, an iron chain, a rope. The torture was clearly prolonged, almost ritualistic, whipping, pulling hair out even ripping off fingernails.
Just horrific details.
And the end was always strangulation. Rope or chain always resulted in a broken neck.
And the darkness.
And it went even further. At least one case, the evidence showed sexual assault after the victim was already dead.
And then after all that.
Chilling routine. He'd mutilate the bodies, make absolutely sure they couldn't be identified. Then he'd calmly drive out to these remote desert roads, dump the remains, and just return home.
Back to his life.
Back to being the devoted dad. Back to filming TikTok videos, maybe even right after disposing of a body. The double life was absolute.
It begs the question, how did no one notice? He's in this high-end compound. His young son is there.
Well, neighbors did notice things. They saw attractive women coming and going frequently, then abruptly stopping. Some even reported hearing short, muffled screams sometimes, but they were quickly silenced by the soundproofing.
And victims sometimes stayed for days.
Yes, up to 18 days in some cases, apparently. But his public persona, this image of the eccentric, wealthy academic, it was strong enough that people likely dismissed the oddities. Upper-class weirdness, perhaps?
He was smart about choosing victims, too, it seems.
Very calculated. He picked women from different parts of the city, Never City, Zoya Alhambra, Abu Numras, geographically scattered, and different ages, too, from 19 up to 37.
Why the diversity?
To make connections harder. Less likely they'd be linked to each other or traced back to his specific compound. It was all about delaying discovery, ensuring investigators wouldn't immediately see the pattern of a serial killer.
His planning was meticulous. But eventually, law enforcement did connect the dots. How did they cut through all that careful planning?
It really came down to persistence and some sharp forensic work. It started by linking those bodies found in different locations. One victim, then two, then three. All with that same terrifying signature. Mutilated, no ID, clear signs of torture.
The forensics were the key then.
Absolutely critical. The reports confirmed it was one person. Not just strangulation, but the exact same method.
Right.
Rope or chain leading to that specific neck break. They all had massive amounts of the same drugs, ice in their systems, and crucially, identical extensive whipping marks on their backs.
His signature gave him away.
He thought he was unique, untraceable. But by repeating his sadistic methods, he handed the police the very evidence they needed to link the crimes.
So once they managed to identify the victims through missing persons reports,
They started talking to the families, and that's when they got the breakthrough. The father of one victim mentioned his daughter was taking an English course from a guy named Kareem. He was the last person she reportedly saw.
and when they approached Kareem S.,
He denied everything, claimed he knew nothing about her disappearance, but it was too late.
why? What else did they have?
Surveillance. They'd been reviewing CCTV footage near all three separate dumping sites, and they spotted one vehicle, a distinctive luxury car, near all 3 locations around the relevant times.
Let me guess.
Registered to Kareem S. The net closed very, very quickly after that.
So he's arrested. Did he try to resist?
He tried to pull the U.S. citizenship card, claim some kind of immunity. But the Egyptian authorities were ready for that. Legally, it didn't hold up. He eventually confessed, admitted to a 4th victim, and even hinted there might be more.
More victims.
He claimed he couldn't remember the exact number. The investigation is likely still trying to piece that together.
And the investigation, it uncovered more darkness.
Oh, yes. During the crime reenactment, he actually tried to escape, made a run for it in a public garden before being caught again almost immediately.
And the apartment search.
It confirmed everything: the soundproof room, the whip, the chain, the rope, drugs. But the most damning evidence: digital, his phone, his laptop, fills with videos. Videos he took himself, documenting the torture, the assaults.
Yeah, he filmed it all.
We filmed it, which speaks volumes about the motivation. This wasn't just about violence. It was about power, control, maybe even preserving the experience. The profile here isn't clinical insanity in the way people might think. It's sadism, pure pleasure derived from inflicting pain, maybe even experiencing it vicariously. And there's a clear awareness, an imitation almost, of patterns seen in serial killers globally, all hidden behind that veneer of respectability.
It's just stark. These two extremes in one person. The wealthy PhD, the model father figure online, and this methodical, brutal killer operating right under everyone's noses, behind literal soundproof walls.
What does it mean for us, for you listening? It's a chilling lesson in, well, not taking things at face value. We have to remember how many people project that successful façade, the wealth, the education, the eloquence, but it can hide unseen, dangerous depths.
So the ultimate takeaway from the Gathering serial killer.
It's that you can never assume social status, academic letters after a name, even a perfectly curated TikTok video about being a great dad. None of it guarantees character.
Yeah.
None of it means you truly know the person behind the mask. And that, I think, is a thought worth carrying with you.